Hey, hot young designers. We are announcing our first online workshop, and we wanted to get you the scoop.
We're calling it You Better Work Pitch.
It's focused on confidently pitching for brand collaborations and partnerships.
If you've ever been curious about collaborations and you're ready to dip your toes into the influencer side of the design business, we want you to join us.
We'll be taking you through our entire process and providing easy-to-use tools and templates.
Now be sure that you're subscribed to our newsletter on hotyoungdesignersclub.com because we're giving our subscribers the first peek when the workshop launches.
We can't wait to see you all there.
On today's show, we're talking about how just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
We're sharing how we've started outsourcing everything from admin work to website development.
Rebecca shares how she handled a hard conversation and admitting her mistakes.
Shaun talks about breaking up with a potential client, and he's always teaching us when he knows how to say no.
Because we all have to know when to hold 'em and when to fold 'em.
All right, Shaun, let's go. Hi, I'm Rebecca of Studio Plum.
And I'm Shaun of Renstead Interiors. We're interior designers
Turned internet friends.
turned real life friends.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
We're not that hot.
Or that young.
Every week, we'll be spilling the tea on how a new generation of interior designers can run their businesses.
Welcome to the club. Hey, Shaun.
What's up, Rebecca?
It's good to be here. I'm excited about this topic today.
Living the dream of small business ownership.
Small business reality, and really, like, this week has been really me kind of like taking the things that I've learned about my personality and my work style and just doing some hard things to help me be more successful, like applying it to my business. It's been a mental roller coaster.
I don't know if this is just as a result of like all of the tumultuous activity happening in the world. It's just like causing us to really either like dig our heels in on stuff that we know we can't do anything about anymore, or we're not going to give up on, or letting go of the things we know it's time to just move them on.
I think it's all of the things. Someone
All
said to me that it's like 2020 was our snow globe got shook up, and everything's kind of like in the air, and we have to just make sense of each thing.
Ooh.
I thought that was a nice analogy.
Yeah, although sometimes I feel like the snowman in the snow globe that like was attached to the bottom of the globe but then came unglued after 20 years, and then now he just flies around with everything else.
Not like you're not like the ballerina at the bottom of it on the ice skates, just catching snowflakes on your tongue.
No. Sometimes I feel like when people shake it up, I'm not attached anymore, so I'm also flying around.
Well, don't break the glass because all the juice falls out.
Juice. Blame it on the juice.
The snow globe juice.
That's everybody. My new rock band, Snow Globe Juice.
Ew. Yes. Cecily, just fun story, once took a snow globe and opened her hand and dropped it on concrete because she wanted to see what would happen.
Well,
it explodes.
Newsflash, it breaks.
Glitter everywhere.
Glitter all over.
And snow globe juice.
Oh my God. We should get into this week's Fizzle and Sizzle.
Let's do it. Okay, well, I feel like this is going to be the last time I talk about this for a while because I'm tired of it, but the fizzle just has to be, today was our first day back to school.
Mm-hmm.
So my sweet little kindergartner logged on to her Chromebook for circle time.
Woo.
It was really sad. I mean, she thought she was cool, but I don't know.
But
It's
you know
just,
she's missing out on a whole lot of stuff right now.
yeah. And it's just like kindergarten, like you're not supposed to learn how to use Google. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, and yeah, it's supposed to be social time and playing with kids and like getting all of that energy out, which she's just giving to you and the dog.
Yeah, and the dog goes to circle time and it's like a whole distracted mess. But it was
Totally.
cute seeing her do her little song and stuff. Um Sizzle. So last week I met with my medium slash intuitive that I've mentioned here before, and I've worked with her over the years. But I had a check in. I haven't talked to her in a couple years. And she really, really helped clarify things for me. I basically kind of crystallized this new business plan, and I have a new service I'm going to launch. So it's, I'm really excited. I've been working a lot on it this week, and it's going to help just make me do a little less with hopefully more profit.
I mean, that's kind of like the work-life balance goal right there is create something valuable, but that doesn't require you to invest like every ounce of your energy into it constantly.
Right. And like our work with the book club, shout out to the Hot Young Book Club with the big leap that I know has been really on our minds. And I feel like this idea I have is really working in my zone of genius. And it's scary. It's scary. Like, I'm realizing how scary it is to do things that like actually might work. So,
that's
um,
your fears coming into play, like, well, if I never launched this new service, I won't know whether it was good or bad or not.
right. So, but I feel really good. Like, I feel like I'm making some choices, which we'll talk about more too today, that are like only going to push me forward. So I feel sizzly about that.
That's got to be good. Yeah. um I'm kind of excited because even I haven't heard, for our listeners, I haven't heard a whole lot about it. And I'm sure as we get closer, I'll be able to catch a little preview of it. So,
Give you a little sneaky peek.
all right,
You know,
I'm
I'm still
down with.
making it up as I go day by day.
That's all of us right now. Like, I can't even figure out one way or the other. It's been really, I think we've been talking about this among our groups. This is not my fizzle, but it's been really hard to stay focused especially the last few weeks. But I feel like everybody's been building on this, and I'm hearing friends and family and other designers talk about it's just everybody's life pattern has changed. So it's really hard to have any sense of regularity.
Yeah, and I always feel like this during seasonal transitions where like there's, I don't know. I definitely feel like fall is kind of like my new year. So want to
You're
be,
more of an autumn type of person.
yeah.
Me too.
But it means like I have a lot of ideas and plans, and then it's hard to focus on the things you need to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't just divide everything up neatly because there's a lot of bleed over. Um, and so I'm focusing on like little wins a lot lately that encourage me to get through the things that are also hard. So for me, my fizzle this week is that like every vendor, subcontractor, specialized trade, everybody, they I'm just feeling it so much more lately between working with contractors and planning projects that we already had a huge labor shortage, like skilled trade labor shortage here in Los Angeles before Corona even hit. I don't know if everybody went to Georgia or Texas or who knows where all the building was happening, that a lot of people left and went elsewhere. Um, but it's just there's a huge shortage of skilled labor and tradespeople. And then the ones who are good that you want to work with are so busy. Um, and my observation is I think so many of them are just focused on getting the labor done that they aren't responsive on the admin side. Have you seen
Right.
that? Just like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's like par for the course
but it shouldn't be.
usually.
Yeah, it just should not be that like now they're like 150% of capacity for having work
Yeah,
and demand for work, but they have like zero capacity for returning emails,
I
voicemails,
know.
text messages, smoke signals. Like they just disappear. And you're like, dude, this is the one really great vendor for this. And we really need him. I don't want to use anybody else, but I have to like nag people to get a phone call or to get a text back or to get an email back. And I think that's part of like what we do for our jobs, but it's feeling like it's getting harder, and I don't think there's an end in sight. So this is just me, bitching about it basically.
Maybe we need to start like a side pod called the Hot Young Contractors Club, and we can start training them because they should be trying to make the designers happy. Like the ones that I work with, they would rather work with us than straight to the homeowners
Yeah, I think they just need,
to
well,
hire
we're talking about
admin.
some ideas, but they need to hire people to help them. If they have that much business, it would be so minimal to get someone to help them do some things, and that's one of the topics we're talking about today, is like me getting some help. So I will
Yeah.
hold on that, but
But yeah,
my
somebody who's at
sizzle,
the office all the time, not on job sites.
yeah, and that comes with part of like the, as contractors and vendors grow to different sizes, they bring on project managers, admins, an office manager, something like that. They're not all at that level where I get that, but there's ways to bridge that gap, just like other solopreneurs do anyway. I think it's just
Mm-hmm.
contractors aren't aware of what's being done elsewhere. They're only talking with each other. So unless they have a role model to follow, they don't do it. So y'all need to introduce your contractors and vendors to our podcast or something for now. Get them listening to new ideas about stuff maybe. And my sizzle of the week is I met with a client, and this is like the give a mouse a cookie client, where like as soon as we tackled one thing it became another. So it was like first just a master bathroom, then it was okay, we were doing the kitchen at the same time, okay, now we're like replumbing and redoing all the electrical for almost the whole house, and now it's also like gone into their living room. So it just keeps going. Happy to have those billable hours. But yesterday I pitched an idea for what to do with a fireplace that's been giving them like really big problems. And it's kind of this like warm minimalism plaster fireplace with a really like clean line oak mantelpiece that we're gonna, one of their family members is a furniture maker, so they're gonna have them make
Ooh.
something custom for it, which I'm psyched for, and I think it's gonna look beautiful. And I was in love with the idea. And then, when you present something and then you can see the client kind of being like, ooh, like that's what happened when I presented it and kind of showed them what I was thinking. And they had been in love with another idea previously. And they're like, whoa, like this is totally different than anything we had thought of doing. We had thought we were in love with this other, they at first wanted to do some like tile thing, which I never really liked, but they were like, wait, like now this is making us have like all the feels about it in a good way.
You're
So
giving them the old razzle dazzle.
yeah, the ooh ah sensation. They just, you like want that to happen when you present an idea where they're like, whoa. And that's happened a few times with this client where I've pitched things in the presentations or otherwise, and they were like, she said at one point to me, she's like, I feel like nothing was going right until you were involved in our project. And
Aww.
that was like the skies open up, the angels sing, the sun is shining. And I'm like, okay, this is why I'm doing what I do. It's working. They're happy. They
Did
trust my
you
guidance.
did you say, "Can you put that in writing and
I did.
apply it
I
to
said,
my
well, let's wait till
website?"
your project is finished and I'm going to ask you to write a testimonial because
No, you
I'd
should
love
ask
to
him
have
now while
that.
she still feels that, just in case something goes wrong.
or I'm gonna like start having potential clients call them now for references, and
Mhm.
then cut it, stop giving out their phone number if something goes wrong. Like the fizzle of not having vendors calling back for things.
Well, yeah, the contractor
I can't
can
control that.
you can't control it, but it could, like, blow
Could
back.
blow up. So that's my sizzle of the week, and you just got to take those great moments and enjoy them for what they are, because we don't have as many of them in Corona times.
I know, they're just different. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm psyched. Should we jump into today's topic?
Let's do it.
you you brought up this idea and I was kind of here for it because we've been talking about making changes.
Yeah, and, the whole kinda idea is we can do hard things. So, sometimes I think it's, like, reminding ourselves that if it's hard, it's probably right when it comes to
Yeah.
decision making. The easy choices or the easy decisions don't they don't meet with resistance, so it usually, in my experience, means it's not the best decision or way of doing things.
If it's the
Not that
easiest.
not that everything has to be a struggle and a hardship, but when it's a decision you're struggling with, it's usually you should have some resistance to it.
Yeah, or just like trepidation where you're thinking, you're really having to think hard about, is this the right path? Am I doing the right thing? And that usually means you're handling a topic that's important.
Yeah, it's like the analogy of spinning your wheels. Like there's no friction or resistance when your wheels are spinning, but you're not going
You're not
anywhere.
going anywhere.
Yeah,
Totally.
which I feel like I've been spinning my wheels in my business for the last year for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm
Or
making
like
some
periods of getting
changes.
traction and
Yeah.
then periods where it's not going anywhere again.
And I'm still busy, but it's, yeah, not going where I wanted to go. And part of it has just been like not knowing where I wanted to go. So, like, back to the car analogy, like, I am in the car, but I'm not really driving anywhere because I haven't decided on a destination. So, that's the work I've been doing. And when I worked with Susan last week, like, it was really helpful to just like get permission or decide that what I was thinking was the right thing to try.
Sometimes you just need someone to tell you that. Like,
Totally.
this is it. Do it. Like, keep
Or
going.
just stop.
Just stop. Just stop doing this to yourself. I think that's the hard things to do, especially because we don't have you don't have a built-in staff if you're mainly working on your own, or even if you do have a small team. Big business direction decisions usually don't go to your assistant, or you may not feel open to the vulnerability that comes with sharing that with other members of your team if you are the principal, the lead
Right.
designer. um,
And
and
working on your
so
vision isn't something you just like check off your to-do list. Like, oh, I'm going to create my business vision
right.
for the, like, you got to like get in a headspace and like be
And
ready
it
to like do things that are
changes.
hard.
It changes whether it's driven by what's going on right now in the world, or whether it's just driven by the natural course of where your business was going. It's like we have to reassess. We have to be willing to let go of some of the things and make some hard calls to then open ourselves up for different possibilities to happen. And if we're too busy
Yeah.
focused on these crazy things going on in our businesses that we don't really want to do, you don't get anywhere.
Yeah, and like personality comes into play too, where like I'm really seeing I'd never thought of myself as a people pleaser, but I see that I am when it comes to doing my work. So I
Hmm.
want to help people with my skills and talents, and that I like want to like tap dance for that. So I have a hard time saying no when somebody wants to work with my creative side.
Right. Like
And that was like
all
interesting.
spans of your creativity, not just like where you feel like you're the best used.
Yeah, anything. Like I can do it. So, I mean, if you asked me to design a birthday invitation for your dog, like I'm not going to do that, but part of
You
me would be
could
like, well,
do
I could
that.
do it. Like it would be really cute, but like that's not a good use of my time. Like,
No.
so I haven't been saying yes to everything, but I've been saying yes to kind of a lot. And it's like, it's become a burden, as you know. And I'm not doing anybody a service,
Well,
like ultimately.
and if you're not passionate about those little things coming at you, it makes it even harder to get started with them because you have no conviction. You don't care about them in the same way that
Mm-hmm.
you care about other projects that are coming to you or the ones that you're not even getting because you're now not available for them.
Yeah, and all of this exactly, and all of it completely translates to money. So, like, I
Mm-hmm.
can take money out of it because I'm not really motivated by it, but I'm also not getting it because of the busy work of it. So
What's
that's
one of the hard things? Like what is one of the hard things you had to do?
I'm gonna start with, so on that note, I have a lot of clients and leads that come to me, which is amazing. And some of them are people that I'm friendly with, or some of them are like legit friends. And they're excited to work with me, partly because they want to help me and, you know, put their money towards my business, which is an amazing feeling. Like, I'm really
Yeah.
grateful. And that's kind of where I get into this like emotional quagmire. And so I've been working this week. I have this crazy list that you've seen that is like 23 projects in
It's
different,
just
it's crazy. They're
it's
all
too
in
many
very, very different like levels
phases.
of phase. And some of them are leads. But so a couple leads of people that I wanted to work with or their previous clients, but they're things that I just shouldn't be dipping into. So 2 exterior projects were like paint consults, lighting, zhuzhing, like front porch areas. I could totally do that, and I love doing that. But I just realized like there's also landscaping component that I would have outsourced
Right.
anyway, but I decided I had a call with a landscape designer that I've worked with in the past, and I'm handing off 2 big projects to her. So I had to make some calls to my friends and just like give them a heads up of what my thoughts were and why. Basically, I was saying, no, I can't do this project. I'm not
Yeah.
the best person for it for various reasons. So
Because it's
then
not just paint color consults on the outside of the house and like recommending a few accessories on the front porch.
no, because there's also like they want planting and stuff, which I wouldn't have really gotten into that, but they wouldn't have had one person managing it all. So um yeah, so I had a great call with this landscape designer who she can do everything that's not structural, but she can do hardscaping, landscape design. Like she's really great. So I have 2 walkthrough handoff meetings in the next couple weeks, and those are off my plate, which I'm really like, it feels like such a relief, like a gift to them as well. Like they're going to get a better product, I think.
Well, the service level of someone dedicated to that and the knowledge base they come with is
Yes.
valuable. Um, that's funny that I mean, I get that people ask about that and then they see our projects that we've done in our homes as designers, and then they are like, oh, that you have landscaping, like what you must know about landscaping. And it's like, well, yes and no, but not enough to say that I'm a landscape designer. Like,
No
can
way. Yeah, I don't
could I
like
work with
advertise
one?
that I
And
do that.
yeah,
And that's
I would love to work with like a big landscape designer if I were doing a whole home project
yeah.
and be brought in to help space plan or get the scaling right of things like that. But and I've done that for larger projects where there is someone in charge of all that, and it's me coming to the outside of a full home remodel saying like, can you help us design the layout for the precast pavers that we want? Like, we want it to be in a regular pattern and we want your help
Mhm.
mapping that out. Cool. Can you help us figure out how much space we should have for outdoor living areas, or the best, like that's the type of stuff where whether it's in four walls or it's outside, space planning and adjacencies and what kind of flows together, that does totally meet with our lines of work. So I see where clients kind of like the idea of doing that with us.
Yeah, and like things like lighting. So I feel really proud of myself because I gave it all up. Not and it has nothing to do with money. It's I love choosing lighting. I love
Yeah.
the option of like she has like an traditional home built in the 20s and it's really cute and charming, and to be able to do something really modern and like updated with lighting, like I have strong feelings about what that could look like,
Yeah.
but it's
The
not worth
payoff
me
for
going
that's
in and
not going to
out.
help.
No, and the disruption and probably the like slowdown on her side, like so
Like, she could
that
just bring you in for consultative time later if she's like, well, now all the landscaping is done. Can you, like, let's look
totally,
at
but
some
the
outdoor
designer
lighting
can
or,
do it. The designer, she does, and she can do like real outdoor like landscape lighting. So
yeah,
um
let the expert do
she'll
it.
do great. Yeah, it's just me kind of like I don't know if it's a control thing or I just like I enjoy getting involved
Well,
with
you want to
opinions.
help people, you like the project. It doesn't mean that you don't like the person, the project, the ideas. It's just, are you in a place to do that? And it's, you're not completely in love with it.
Yeah, it's this whole idea like of I've been kind of saying to myself, asking, should I do it or could I do it? Like, is it I could do it, but should I do it? Like, those are the questions I'm asking. It's like
And I
I
feel
could
like if you're
DIY
asked,
that, but should
should you
I?
be? Yeah.
I could paint my own house, but should I? No.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm hitting that level where you know that you're busy enough and that or you're not busy with the things you'd rather be doing. So you're suddenly saying like that kind of leads into my first this is hard to do type of situation, which is that I I just brought on a virtual assistant because I there's a lot of stuff I can keep doing for myself, but I shouldn't be doing them when it means that I'm ignoring my full hourly rate of something
Mhm.
to spend time elsewhere. So there's a lot of like built-in potential to programs that I'm using, and we've talked about various programs like Asana and Dubsado and um,
Acuity.
Acuity. Like where I'm using all of these systems to help me keep track of stuff, or Active Campaign with my newsletter setup. Like I have all of these things, and I could sit and figure them all out. I could be doing more in them to make my process smoother and my tracking smoother, and my reporting better. Because like re- reporting and data are like driven in me from my banking years of, oh, we've got numbers that back that up. Like we've got something that can show how productive we are, how fast leads convert, how many, like what they need and what they don't need. But I can't keep track of all these steps anymore and still work with my clients day to
Or
day.
like
Like,
optimizing them so that you're like creating the reports, templates, or whatever.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, this last 2 weeks was me bringing someone on to help with some of that, to help put a bigger like, I need someone at both times to be paying attention to, like, 10,000 feet and 1 foot. And I
Mm-hmm.
need them to be getting a big picture of, like, I think your processes could be streamlined here, and then that's the high level, and then they go down to the low level where they're like, "Okay, now we're gonna implement to make it better." And in some sections I have a strategy, others I don't. My Google Drive that I use for everything is it started with a process, and then every time I get busy, it starts to turn into a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things, and it's so hard, one, to admit that I need that because I could, like you're saying, I could be doing this, but I didn't. And now things are starting to get a little too hectic, and I need someone to come in and help me get it back on track. Um, and I'm okay admitting that now. Then the second part behind that is I shouldn't be doing this anyway when my billable rates can cover some of this administrative work. It's I'm not starting out at a level where I'm going to be billing them out to a client. This is like the behind the scenes work that I need within the business that's not necessarily for projects.
Right. And it doesn't get done because probably on the daily, you're like, well, I shouldn't be working on my website optimization because my client needs me to do X.
Right.
So it's like every day it gets pushed off because it's not something you should be doing that day because you have other responsibilities.
Correct. Or like developing a better Pinterest strategy and making sure that I'm keeping up with that. It's like I don't need to be the one doing all of it. I just need someone to say, write write 5 captions this week. Great. Now they're all planned. Or what do you want to focus on? Okay, bam. And then they're going to take the work. And I'm
Pin 10
totally good with
bathrooms into this folder.
and
Or
just be done and like have a better strategy around it, be investing in myself long term because better processes, and we talk about this for everybody, so all the listeners, we're not perfect either, so that's why we're telling you, like, when you recognize it's a problem, it's time to work on the solution. And for me, it's getting someone else involved to help me make it better and not just putting all the pressure on myself. And that's really hard because this is my baby, this is my business, and it's good that it's busier, that I need help to keep up with it.
yeah, you're not a hero for doing all that stuff in the background that anybody could do.
Yeah, I don't get a cookie for that.
No.
And
Are
like suffering.
you so you're breaking up with admin,
I'm
Shaun?
breaking up with doing all of the administrative work by myself because I'm it's not the administrative work, it's me. Like
Right.
it's me. It's not that I can't do it, that it's not possible, but I want some more of my weekend back, and I want to be able to sit in the evenings or go to
Drink
bed and
your
not be
rosé.
thinking about a stupid scheduling strategy that I forgot to do on time. Like I don't want to do that anymore. So
That's
gotta
awesome.
go.
I'm almost there. That's gonna be my next thing that I think I take on. Speaking of analytics and data,
Uh-oh.
oh my god, this is just all like one big just stop for myself.
Uh-huh.
So you may remember when we were launching One Room Challenge, I decided to rebrand and redo my website,
Yeah.
which was awesome. It needed to happen. I got it done. I did all of the coding pretty much and design myself. And I had some amazing collaborations and brand partners for that challenge. So, and when you have those, you have deliverables, and I had contracts with pretty big companies. And one of the deliverables for a specific company was a blog post, and they track analytics, and they want the results from my posts. So a month later, they check in with me, like I'd already posted the blog, like, look, can you send me those page views when you get a sec? Go in, and lo and behold, Google Analytics is MIA.
Wah, wah. Oh my God.
So I just had one of those like stomach drop moments of like, no.
Yeah. Like, oh, I fucked up. Like,
Undo. I never put it on, and it was on my old site, which was it is the same platform. So I just didn't really think that changing the theme would mean I'd have to change analytics. So just note for any WordPress users out there, if you
you
update your
do.
theme, you do have to change the code for your analytics. So it just
It's like gut-wrenching.
it was gut-wrenching. I felt super amateur, embarrassed, and bad. Like, I mean, you only kind of get one shot at like pushing people to a post. Not really, but
I mean, you want it to look good the first time around for them because you want to work with them again. You want them to have a good impression of you.
yeah, definitely. So, and then I'd already done the work. So anyway, I had to have a tough conversation. Well, I was dreading having to even admit it, obviously, but I sent her a note, and you helped encourage me to jump on a call with her. So I had that yesterday. Like, just was like accepting what happened, and here's some ideas that I have for
Like
remedying it.
you came with solutions, which I think is
Yes.
like the important part of it.
So basically, I'm going to have to edit together a new video and kind of revitalize that post, and push traffic back to it again so they can get new analytics and make sure that they get traffic and eyeballs. So it'll be fine. It all went really great with my conversation with her. I mean, sucks I
How
have
long
to
was the
do more
total?
work.
How long was the total conversation?
Oh, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
See, yeah.
And some of it was like friendly banter and like her like
Yeah.
being really happy with the project itself and the
But
job that
like
I
ripping the
did.
Band-Aid off at the beginning was the absolute hardest, most dreadful part of it.
I mean, I spent a lot of the weekend like, am I sure? Like
Agonizing.
I started just like getting into Apache code and like trying to figure out if I
Oh
could
no.
isolate any kind of traffic. Getting in way over my head with
Uh-uh. But
information.
what you had to break up with was not even just like the hard part of having the conversation, but also of like, it would have been easier to just jump right to that conversation instead of agonizing over it for several days and like having this pit and this ulcer developing in your stomach over it.
Yeah, and trying to like fix it and see if I could,
I
salvage
mean,
any information. I wasted a lot of time doing that, for
I'm
sure.
all for trying to fix it, but truly, like, it is just easy to say, like, this didn't work out the way I wanted it to, and I'm sorry about it, and here are my ideas on how we can fix it. And what do you think, or what are your ideas? And it's hard to admit that something went wrong or that we made a mistake in the line of work that we do, because the buck does stop with us. And we have a client, or in this case, a collaboration partner who's depending on us. And it feels bad to let them down because you
It
are a good
does.
person and you care about it.
So if anyone needs to hear this right now, check to see if you have Google Analytics on your site. You may not know that you need it or why you need it, but you cannot recapture any of that information later.
Yeah. It's not just like saved out there waiting for you to like subscribe and then get it. If it didn't get captured, it's not there, it's
It's
gone.
like pushing record on this podcast. If I didn't do it, we are not getting this whole thing back.
It's
I
all
did,
not
but I
here.
did.
Yeah. And that's the truth. Is the worst part of it is just having that really rough conversation, when we make up a short mistake like that and you didn't intend for it to happen, which is truly the most like revealing part of it, is that you feel bad, you didn't mean for it to happen, but you're willing to try to make it right. And I think if we approach so much of our jobs like that, it makes a difference because clients receive that when you put that out there of, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to try to hide this from you. I'm not trying to blame it on anybody else. This is what happened. And it sucks to have to do it.
Yep. And I was really it's like I always try to balance when I have to do hard news, tell hard news, with balance the just give the information clean and simple without a lot of excuses, just a little bit of explanation, and
Mm-hmm.
then just bring some humanity to it. Like, not like boo-hooing on the phone or anything, but just like making it, bringing my personality into it a little bit, like cracked a joke or two.
Yeah.
And it's not like no one's gonna die because I didn't
The
get maybe
analytics weren't
page
there.
views on that post.
Yeah.
So it's all good. We're gonna survive.
You're going to make it.
Hey Shaun, have you signed up for the Hot Young Designers Club newsletter?
Oh, no.
Really? Is this you not wanting to clutter your inbox with a lot of excess junk?
No, no. Let me do it. Where do I need to go?
You need to go to hotyoungdesignersclub.com, scroll down till you get to the subscribe button. You just pop in your email address and your name.
All right. I'm doing it right now. Is this going to be a bunch of spam?
It's not. It's actually not going to be anything until we actually get around to sending something, but we have big plans and we want to be able to send surveys to get feedback from our audience and maybe once in a while a special surprise or a recap.
All right. I'm on it.
Thank you. Back to the show. So, did you have to break up with anyone else?
Well, I didn't have to break up with anyone else, but I think I told you about this big lead that came my way. Honestly, it was a giant project. It is still a giant project. And I'll tell you why it's in past tense. So I don't think I shared with you yet how that worked out or what happened, but another local designer to us referred a project to me because she's so busy with projects up through the end of the year, and this client wanted to get started like ASAP. And so I had a conversation with them and I talked with them, and for I think we've gone through a lot of our process in the podcast where we talk about like what are my steps, but if I'm going to work on any long-term project with someone, I have to meet you. I have to get in front of you face to face. It's good for you, it's good for me. We have to make sure we like each other, and there's some stuff I have to collect and see and understand in person. I just can't do over the phone. And that's just how my process works. Um, this client is pretty much doing, they're not even my client, but there'll be somebody's at this point because they were working with an architect, and the architect was like, it's time for you to start talking to designers. And then they had reached out to me and I think a few other designers. They essentially wanted me to just give them a proposal after a like 30-minute phone call of like, so how much would it be for you to be involved like from start to finish? Like, we're just getting our second draft of a floor plan. And it was like, I the next step is we meet. Like, I have to see whatever draft you've got, which is on this huge 24 by 36 drawing. I need to see that. And I need to talk with you guys. I need to make sure. And I kind of had a good feel. Like, I felt like from the call that the wife that I was speaking to was like, oh, I feel like she's probably a cool person. But stuff gets revealed when you meet. Like, the husband wanted to be like at the next, like he would need to be part of that. I want to know, because stuff happens behind the scenes where you're like, well, one of you's not crazy, but one of you is. And
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't want that project. And it's a huge project. It's legit could go on for several years and represent a great opportunity for a big portfolio project or some really good long-term billable hours, which is nice for stability. But I can't break my process. And I had to hold to it because I know, like, the practice what we preach is don't let clients dictate to you how your business works. And
Mm-hmm.
they were like, well, we're collecting proposals from other designers already that didn't need to do that. And it's like, well, this is how my process works. This is what I do. And I find this to be like one of the main reasons that projects are successful is that I know you, we know how we work, and this is what I have to stick to. And I know I found out from them in a follow-up earlier this week that they're moving ahead with just the proposals they already got. And I wish them well and I wish
Mm.
them luck. And, I told them that if something doesn't work out, that I was grateful to be considered for the process and that they know how to schedule a consultation with me if they need to.
They're just so busy they didn't want to meet anybody?
I think
Or they
it's not
wanted a
even that.
proposal in hand before
Yeah, it's
they
like they wanted a
interview.
proposal first before even meeting anybody on what is like I mean, this is like a more than $1 million, it's a several $1 million home probably by the time it's done.
Mm.
And it's not, for everybody out there, like, yeah, that represents a range of designer skills and it'd be a great project to be involved in. But I have to know who I'm working with if we're going to be basically married for 2 years, like
Right. Did
doing this
you
ground
like
up
did you give him
design.
like an hourly rate and that like whole house hourly like estimate, or did you just not even do that because
I
they weren't?
In the follow-up, we had talked about just some like kind of like what are some ranges.
Yeah.
And I shared with them that their initial thought of what they wanted to spend for having a designer involved seemed really low.
Mm-hmm.
And I had had some conversation with you around that and with another designer about that. And I still think their initial number of like wanting to do this whole 2 year ground up for like 10 grand.
Oh
I
my God.
like, no, just no. But they didn't know where they were starting from. So throughout my discovery call with them, it was like kind of an education of, I think you're going to be seeing some very different numbers than that. And this is a really long time. You want someone involved. So I think easily you should be aiming much higher because other designers in other groups and will say, oh, it's 10 to 15% of construction budget, like, and that's not, when you think about how many hours you're involved in on some of these big projects, that's not crazy. Like,
No, and it sucks because like whether the other design, who knows what they proposed, but if they come in with a just throwing shit at the wall
mm-hmm,
and like
it's not accurate.
ultimately, well, and they're just doing an hourly estimate and an estimate of hours, then and then it ultimately ends up being 10 times that, which is probably what you proposed,
Yeah,
and they didn't do them any favors.
right. And they won't discover that till they're further on in the process of whether that number was accurate or
I
not.
think until they exceed it,
um
which will be like in a year or whatever.
I mean, not even like 10 grand
Yeah.
in the planning
Well,
stages and the
that.
concept stages. Like if they thought that was where they originally started. So that's hard because I would love more projects like that are full remodel, longer, plenty of time to plan. Other specialties are involved. Like there's a great architect involved. They're going to be working with a premium builder. So there's a certain finish quality and level that comes with that I'd love to move into. But I'm not going to start by already sacrificing part of the way that I run my business because I think that sets the wrong signal about what it's going to be like throughout the whole project.
Yeah, no, that was hard and smart. Don't you wish you could like just tap them in a year and be like, "Hey, can
How's
I
your
just have a
project going?
can you just tell me if I was right or not?" Like,
Like you
where
almost
are you
want to
at?
do like so
Like a
did it turn
case
into
study.
I told you so, or
Yeah.
like, are you going to break up with that designer after 4 months when they've ran through, 20 grand and and you're like, what the heck?
Because
Um,
you weren't expecting it. Yeah, like you want to do a
yeah.
case study on that somehow. Like,
Or maybe they found, and no shade, I don't know who they worked with. And I didn't want to know who they're working with, because I don't know what level that designer's at. I don't know if they were having the same trepidation about, oh, I really want to do this project, so I'm going to jump through every hoop for this. And it's going to be really low, but it'll get me into that market. It'll get me into that community, and it'll get me into this size of a project. But that's just the opposite of everything that I know I don't want to do. Is I don't want to take a project for the potential. I want to take a project to get paid.
yeah.
And the potential will come with the right project, the right client, the right billable hour,
Well,
all
there's
of that
just so
lining
much
up.
trust, like especially something that big, like that's so much trust and commitment. They need to trust that you know what your process is and why you do it from the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah.
So that was a really,
So you broke up with a
really
million
hard one.
dollars.
I broke up with a lot of money, and it feels hard to be like, but I have to stand on my principles. But really, truly, like, how could I create a proposal without ever seeing a plan and just hearing you tell me, like, oh, it's this many square feet? Like, how do I know? You've never
I
shown me a
mean,
drawing. Like, it could be twice that, and you're just trying to squeeze me. And yeah, sure,
right.
that the proposal's not really accurate anymore when you've doubled the square footage, or you suddenly add on a bunch of stuff in draft 4 with your architect. But there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. I know, and like my gut is telling me, like, I'm several days past it now, so I'm like, nope, still a good decision. Like, not the right
Yeah, why
project
were
then.
they like trying to be such sticklers on, and it's like
I think
they're
it's just they don't
creating their own.
they don't know. They don't know what they're getting into. And so of course, yeah, if you have me saying I need to meet with you, I need to see the drawings, I need to do this, then you have another designer who's like, I don't need to see any of that, I'll write you up something. Then who do you believe?
Well, and
Until
it
you
was
have a
kind of
lot
like
of
a
people.
power, like they're trying to like have a power move or something, and that's already like you want to be in a collaboration and like a partnership
Yeah.
with a client, not and like no one has. Sure, they're your client and they're paying you, so obviously they need to be happy, but you want to feel like you're at the same level.
Yeah, there should be a mutual respect to that, of like, okay, well, we want to work with you, and we understand that's not how your process works. How quickly could we, like, if it was a time issue, if it was this, but it wasn't. From what they shared, it wasn't any of that. It was just like, well, we already
You
got
work
proposals without having to meet people in
like you'll be
person.
working for me, like here
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to
That's
send
that's probably
proposals
more
without.
of what like the bad juju was.
Maybe. Maybe. That was a hard breakup though.
Yeah. Oh,
I would like a big project like that, but now
you're putting it out in the
it's in the
universe.
universe. Like, I'm
Yeah.
available for those big projects, and maybe in a couple weeks, if they turn out to be good people but they don't like where they got, maybe they'll be back. But even if they won't, on to the next.
You know, you put some boundaries around yourself, which is telling the universe what you need and expect, and
Hmm.
you're going to manifest that shit.
Yeah, it's happening.
So, my next one is kind of like going off of my last sad story. I broke up with my IT and web designer girl, which was myself.
Like, wait, you mean you?
Yes, because she really
She's been
sucks.
slacking.
She sucks. She didn't do a basic analytics thing. So I hired a web team to help me. First of all, they're going to optimize my site and make sure
Got
my
it.
last web girl didn't fuck anything else up.
Make sure all the
Uh,
coding is right and all of the tracking is there.
yeah, and I've had like some homie hookups on my site where I've just had like friends who are developers like step in and help me, but like ultimately there hasn't been like a strategy or like a big overhaul cleanup. So they're going to clean up my site, very excited, get rid of all these like random plugins and things that are carried over. And then I'll probably go into monthly maintenance plans so he can help me look at certain things, and I'll still do my own web design and some of it that I'm already, it's easier for me to just design it while I do the content. But if I
Yeah.
get stuck, like I can't get Stripe to work on my WooCommerce, like I don't need to spend hours figuring it out, like,
No. Like they can do it in 15 minutes or less
or
sometimes.
less. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll have like somebody on my team that can help me with that stuff, which is only going to make, yeah, make things a lot smoother.
Yeah. I know that for you it becomes also focused on making it perfect or making it like exactly the vision you have in your head. And that I
Mm-hmm.
think leads a lot from the design background that you have working with graphics and working with all of that, but then also just it's your baby, so you want it to be what you imagine. I've had a web team for 2 years now, and it's just so easy to pass things to them. And is it always perfect on the first try? No, but I had to get used to like I got to give them feedback and parameters, and I have to like manage them in the same way that I would if I had someone else, physically present as part of my team. It's guiding them to what I expect and relying on them to do that. And that I may not give them 100% control, but eventually they can do so much more independently than and faster than I could doing it all on my own.
Totally. It goes back to the could or should thing. And I can do a lot. Like I have a lot of technical savviness. I have, again, yeah, graphic design background. So I do enjoy part of it. But I always end up getting like in these weird snafus where I'm like in these, I'll like look up 2 hours later and be in this weird rabbit hole of like understanding
Uh-huh.
code. And I don't code. So
And in the long term, you don't want to move your business model that way to be doing websites and
no,
coding. So it's like it's providing zero value to your long-term goals.
no. So like I need to just like stay in my lane. Like I'm still wanting to do the front end design part of it, but for now. But yeah, I don't need to like and and I told the guy like when I interviewed him, like I definitely know enough to get myself into trouble. Like I am that person. So we'll be able to have like pretty streamlined conversations, but I'm probably screwing things up.
Just let the expert do what they do.
Yeah, so I broke up with my internal in-house IT team. And I'm really
That
excited
girl's
about
on a
it.
performance action plan. She needs to get much better at her job
Yeah, for
and
sure.
focus on the real. Um, I've been telling you for months to get someone to help you. When you told me that you were launching that new website rebrand during One Room Challenge, and I was like, nope, gotta get some help, gotta get some help. Like, get someone to help you.
I
And
don't
you had a
regret
lot of
that.
late nights. You had a
I don't
lot of late
regret that
nights.
because I was designing content as I went. Like, so I would have had to still design, or I would have had to still create the content and then
Yeah.
implement it, have someone else implement it. And I know
But
enough to be able to do both. But yeah,
you need to get right now you're trying to get to set it and forget it. Like I've got the
the
big
back end
pieces,
part, yeah.
all the big pieces are in place on the front end where it looks nice and it functions the way you want mostly, but there's cleanup that needs to be done and there's problems that come up that they don't make sense for you to spend time troubleshooting them anymore.
Right. And I want to like put a cart on my site in like some form of a shop. Like some of it I can poke around and do, but there's always going to be like little
It's so easy to just send a
hiccups.
one-liner over like, "Hey, I want to try to do this. Can we do that?" And then they start running with it and
Yeah.
just let them bring it back to you, which is
Yeah.
kind
Like
of
I
like what our clients
actually
do.
totally, like I had that call with him this weekend and I actually told him about my Google Analytics problem and what I was trying to see if I could figure out. And he's like, nope, no, like he like cut me off. Nope, you can't do it. Like there's no way to get like single page view
Yeah.
traffic. You can only see like your overall site traffic. So want want. So he
Yeah.
saved me about 3 hours
Of
and 5 seconds.
further, yeah, of further investing after you had
Hoping,
already
wishing,
spent
and
several
hoping.
hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
So do as we say, not as we do. If you're
yes.
trying to avoid the problem, if you want to anticipate and avoid the problem, we're sharing with you these real life examples of where it could go bad later. So just have some help out there for your website or someone you can call on. So you're not trying to do it all on your own and you don't have stuff shutting down on you when you need it the most.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and like side note on that, not side note, but I didn't really have the person or referral on hand. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to solve this right this second. I went on Thumbtack, posted a thing, which I've never done before.
yeah.
Within minutes, I had 3 people chatting me on there. I was on the phone with one of them within minutes. Like those people are on it. So I was like, okay, well, you're fast and you sound like a
Yeah.
normal. So you're the person I want. He got me a proposal when he said he would. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, Thumbtack was awesome for that. So if you don't know where to start, like
Start there.
I I would start there.
Yeah, because you're not overly invested either. Like if you end up getting another great option for that, you can always navigate over to a new web team or developer or someone to help with it. You're not like married to them forever.
No, you don't sign any contracts on there unless like he sent me a proposal privately and um like an ongoing contract, like that's all separate. Like Thumbtack is just kind of like a marketplace. So
Yeah,
it's good.
it's a Craigslist like for professional stuff.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
I could have put an ad of what I was looking for.
all sorts of stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you did that because I've been hoping you would do that for a while. And my last one, it's still kind of related to passing on a really big project and just like not changing my process for it. But this is I don't know if y'all are experiencing this out there. I think I've heard from several designers that people are just coming out of the woodwork, tire kicking, wanting to like find out about projects and pricing and how it works. And from the minute I picked up the phone with this discovery call, I could tell that this client was not like the project itself was not a good fit. This is different from that whole home remodel, but I can already tell like what she wants to accomplish. It's not just that she doesn't have a realistic budget. Like she wanted to essentially like redo all the flooring in a 1600 square foot townhouse, redo all the flooring, blow open the whole entryway, a bunch of like maybe structural but maybe not structural work to open up walls, and then redo all of the flooring and the carpet, everything, plus a like open concept kitchen renovation, which is like a 1970s kitchen with original appliances and everything. All of this for a budget of $35,000, which in greater Los Angeles is pennies. It's pennies to start projects like this, let alone the design fees that are involved with it. But I mean, easily that kitchen eats up all of it. And that's just an entry level kitchen because labor's expensive, appliances are expensive. And she asked me the part where I knew it was like, this is going to be hard. I'm going to have to say no. I'm going to have to break up with it. Was she said, I kind of like to be involved in the design process. And I really want to like, I know what I like, is what she said. I know what I like. And I really just need someone to help me decide what I do. Like, I show the options. And I had to really stand firm in that's a great fit for my one-time consultation services where you can get your samples, you can get your materials, I can come in and yay or nay or yes and no, whatever you want to call it, but I can give you the here's my design expertise and thought process in a 2-hour meeting. And I had to say, that doesn't fit with my models that I use for kitchen projects or for full scale design projects, where I'm the one deciding what to present and what to bring to you after you've shared what your likes, your dislikes, and your goals are, and maybe some inspiration boards. I don't really do back and forth. You come with a backsplash tile after I've already presented you a backsplash tile. That's not going to work in the
Right.
process.
You're like,
And
you don't know what you like. I know what you like.
yeah.
Would
But
you
I don't want
would
to
you
play that
do like
game.
totally? Would you do a like lookbook or little like mood
Like help
board,
create concept or something.
like high level glorified
Well,
Pinterest board?
and that kind of goes back to where I told her, I said, something that I could help you work out if you need that is in the e-design model, I can spend some general time. It's not going to really work for like a whole kitchen, but I can get you some rough layouts that work in an e-design package where even though you could have me come in for a consultation and meet you in person, I could make this work in an e-design model where I recommend some colors, finishes, layout ideas, broad strokes of a package to put
Mm-hmm.
together for you. And then since you know what you like giving it back to her, since you said you know what you like, you can then take that and execute it with your contractor.
Yeah.
And that was like, I have to stand firm in that because I don't want to be roped into a project on, if you're really in that tight of a budget, using my design time, that's you sacrificing. I mean, my hourly rate really quickly starts to eat into your backsplash line item.
Right. Or your refrigerator.
Right. So I don't want to do that to someone just to make the money. And I realize like that comes from a privileged place to be able to say, I'm not here just to hustle a dollar off of somebody. I'm here to give them my best possible work, to give them honest advice and guidance, especially on such a big investment like a kitchen. We're not just picking like a rug that they're going to get over in 10 years. I want them to make smart investments with their money. And I think that's hard to say. And I knew it was hard saying it, of like, ooh, it'd be cool to like rope it into a bigger project, but I really think she'd be better suited to working either in e-design or just bringing me in for several consultations throughout the process where she's like, now it's time to pick the flooring. Here's the 3 samples I like. Now we're picking the cabinet finish. Which one of these 3 samples do you like?
Yeah.
And that's like, I can do that for you in those 2 hours. And you're not investing too much money in that.
And you have no like extra deliverables, or you're not like
Yeah.
your
I shake
phone
your
line
hand.
isn't open, like she doesn't have the red phone
Yeah.
to your
And
hotline.
and I kind of had to say, develop your list, put together all the questions you want to ask me, get them together, and then when you're ready, there's my link. You can schedule a consultation with me. And sure enough, the next morning, I had an email confirmation she scheduled a consult.
Awesome.
So it felt good to direct her to the right path, even if it felt hard saying, like I could hear her go, oh my God, when I started sharing costs and things she needs to keep in mind and working with an HOA. And it's like a whole thing for a townhome development. Like there's a lot. It's not just, I want to rip apart my house and what do I do?
Well, yeah, you were involved in that one that was years and it wasn't even
Oh my
like a
God,
huge
girl.
space. Still not great
No,
done,
that
right?
was like 100. No, they haven't done it because they're like, both of them are working from home. That's a totally different project, like 100 square foot kitchen for a small apartment, which is cute. Like we have a lot of that. I don't mind working on a small kitchen. What I mind is not being given the freedom to execute what will be the best. And that's when you have to know, like, no matter what I do, like, I can only polish the turd so much. Like,
Ew, I hate that phrase.
I'm sorry, but I can only put so many bow ties on the pig. Like, At some point
Well, yeah, it's like no
you
one's
have
gonna
to
be
trade out the
happy.
pig for a stallion so I can do something more with it.
Well, when you know that like ultimately no one's gonna leave this project happy, like
Yeah.
it's not, you're not walking away with a lot of bucks in your pocket, and they're not walking away with a fully realized
No,
kitchen.
no,
They're
because
still gonna have the stress.
she's dreaming about her like Studio McGee inspired kitchen that she's not going to be able to execute. So it's like really increase your budget or really change your expectations. And then for me, I had to really change the level of service that makes sense to offer. And I don't want to be unhappy working on that for a year and then still be nowhere and then them feel like they just got taken advantage of paying me, change orders and overage fees. Like, that's not right. I don't want to do that to people.
Right. And it's still gonna be feeling nickel and dimed, and everyone will feel that way.
Totally.
Well,
So,
bye
we can do
girl.
it, guys. Yeah, we can do it. We can say no. We can break up with people if we have to.
We
We
can break
can.
up with ourselves.
Girl, I'm so glad you did that. That's just the hard. You got to have a hard conversation with yourself. Like, it's not you, it's you. Dear
Exactly.
Rebecca, we
Just
should just be
stop.
friends.
We should just stay. You just need to stay in your own damn lane.
We just need to be really good friends.
Oh. And I'm trying to be a good friend to myself. Like that is something that I am really working on in the last couple weeks. Like I'm committing some time to self-care. Like I've been meditating every day and starting to dabble in yoga again, and it really just adds, like drops in the self-love bucket.
Yeah.
It
It's better
helps.
to take care of yourself now, and you're recognizing that you're either at the limit or you already passed it, and to know, okay, if I'm there, what's the pathway back to normalcy or to a better balance for yourself? And it might mean bringing in help or avoiding not doing certain projects anymore.
And a lot of what we've been talking about falls into the category of self-worth,
Mm-hmm.
and like recognizing where we haven't been valuing ourselves. So
Yeah.
like these things with self-care, I work with my friend Tammy Hackberth, and she's amazing. And she has her own podcast if you feel like you need this. She works with women mostly, but it's like when you start kind of putting deposits into your self-worth, it translates to other things. So like I think even just me meditating for 5 to 10 minutes every day is building that muscle to where now I can say no to other things or yes to other things. I think as creatives, I think women have this harder. We just don't put ourselves first.
I mean, that's like a whole cultural thing where you're like programmed from, or brainwashed, maybe we call it, like women are
Well, it's
brainwashed. Men,
biological too. Yeah.
yeah, some of it, but yeah, you're like, but this isn't like, your website is not a crying child where you have a visceral primal reaction to, oh my gosh, my baby. But like you've been
Kind
taught,
of.
but yeah, you've kind of
My
been
baby doesn't have
taught.
analytics.
Yeah. Oh my God, somebody get her analytics.
Somebody, she has too many plugins. Hurry.
It's time for her analytics. Wait, what movie is that? What is
Movie?
that?
I don't
Wait, there's a
know.
is it Shirley MacLaine?
Are
And
you talking about?
and her daughter needs her pills.
Terms of endearment.
Terms of endearment. Yes, it's time for her shot. It's time for her shot. Yes.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah,
people are gonna listen. The listeners are thinking, oh my God, this movie is gonna be hilarious. You guys know it's not a hilarious
no,
movie,
it's
okay? Terms of
terrible.
Endearment is not, it's not a lighthearted rom-com, okay?
And
So
it
we're
has
only
nothing to
laughing
do
at
with
it. Has
websites.
nothing to do with websites or development. This is just how my brain works. So
It's not,
Anyway.
yes. So it's definitely not that. So yeah. Anyway, we got this.
Yes, we can do it, you guys. And I want to share before we wrap up today a really
Oh
cool note that we got from a listener.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'm again, you guys think we're joking probably at this point that we're not, we're still surprised how many of you are listening and writing reviews and rating us on the podcast or sharing your thoughts or recommending us to others. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. At some point, sometimes we feel like we're talking into the void. We're not sure who's there.
There's that one person in Poland, remember?
Yeah, we have that one listener in Poland. Thousands of you have been listening. It means a lot. And yeah, like for every new country that gets added, I'm just like, well, who knows? Like, where are we next?
World Tour 2025.
Yeah, when we can travel again, we can have Hot Young Designers Club meetups all over the place with so
Oh
many
my
of you.
God, dream.
But we did get a message this week from Alex, and Alex wrote us. She said, "Hi there, just sliding into your DMs," which is like a total Sirha slide moment there. And she said, "I wanted to reach out, send you a huge thank you for starting the Hot Young Designers Club. I'm loving your podcast. I work a 9 to 5 at-home desk job for a design consulting firm, but I aspire to have my own design gig. And I'm finally taking the plunge and taking on a project to hopefully ramp up my own business." And she says, Alex said, "Your podcast has been so real and reassuring. I'm so appreciative. Thank you for sharing and keeping it real. And thank you, Alex, because you're starting a business, girl. Like,
Do it. Start, yeah, and you can start with little things if anyone else is in that position. Like I do a lot in my own house, partly just because I enjoy it and my house is a hot mess, but also because it's portfolio building and you
and you get
can
to be in
start
charge
small.
of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm psyched that even if it even just helps one person avoid problems or anticipate things that we didn't know about, that's part of what we wanted to do when we started the podcast, and we set out with this like mission to be helpful to other designers.
We can do hard things.
We can like Alex not leaving her job yet, but getting started on a business venture that maybe we didn't think we could do before. So kudos to Alex, and kudos to those of you who are listening, who are doing similar hard challenges every day to get your businesses moving. You can definitely do it.
And just another plug, kind of, I think it really dovetails nicely to the book club this month, is about The Big Leap. If you haven't started it yet, you can still always go back and catch up. You don't have to be in real time, but I think it really is like partly all these conversations we've had today are generated by the work we've been doing with that book. So it's a good one.
Definitely. I think you guys will like it. If you haven't caught up, you still have time to join us for our upcoming meet. Woo woo. Another one in the books, Rebecca.
Did it. All right. Well, I think that's it for today.
Thanks for listening. See you soon, Rebecca.
Bye, Shaun.
Bye.
Thanks for joining this meeting of the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Check out the show notes there for links to things we talked about today.
We are keeping the conversation going on Instagram, so don't forget to like, comment, and follow at Hot Young Designers Club.
You can find Rebecca on Instagram at Studio Plum.
And you can find Shaun at Wrenstead Interiors. That's WRENSTED.
You better work, pitch. You better work, pitch. You better work, pitch. You better work, pitch. I'm keeping that cut. You can edit the laughter.
That was energetic.